Hi everyone, welcome back to Kanika's Corner. I'm really excited to talk about this video because it's about toilet training, and here I'm going to talk about all that I have done with my 10-month-old so far. So toilet training feels really daunting, but I've learned that with a little bit of persistence, patience and learning our baby's cues, it's totally doable. So a lot of what I learned about potty training is from my brother and sister-in-law and what they practiced with their 3-year-old, and also what my grandmother and mother remember about how they toilet trained me. So because we were mainly cloth diapered, for me in the initial few months and for my nephew throughout his life, it actually made the transition very easy. Now I have a lot of friends, children or nieces and nephews who have been potty trained beyond the age of 2 or 3 because they wear disposable diapers, and it is a much harder process in some cases. But it's I would say the transition from her pooing and peeing in her diaper to doing it over the sink to doing it over the pot has actually been quite smooth, and here's how we did it. So I waited until her neck was steady, about the 3rd month, after which we started this process. So the first thing we did was we would note down when she peed or when she pooed, and it gave us a rough idea about her rhythm and schedule. So once we knew that, then we would know, okay, every 15 or 20 minutes we need to take her. And the first thing we did, the first position we held her in was held her over the sink, and she would pee. And very important to associate any kind of sound with it. So I associated a humming sound with peeing. So I would say, and this helped her realize that, okay, I have been brought here to pee. And she would pee. So it's very easy to transition them if they're being cloth diapered because they feel their discomfort, and therefore they will signal it and say, I'm not comfortable, and then when you change them out of their nappy, okay, this is when they've peed. So it is very easy to track when they have peed. So to help her poo, I would put her on my legs and she would just poo. In case she was having trouble, what we would then do is hold her legs up, pour a little warm water on her tummy, and that would help release any of the poo that was stuck inside. Of course, the first thing we would do was wait to see that reaction. She'd make a certain face to sort of indicate that, okay, poo is coming out. I would say in the initial few months, probably up till 3.5 months, there was no specific distinction that she was going to poo. But it was after that she started making a face or going darbur, and that helped us realize, okay, time for her to poo, let's take her to the bathroom. As she's grown older, we have moved her from holding her over the legs to putting her onto a potty seat. And it's made life a whole lot easier and significantly cleaner. I would say in the last 6 months, we've maybe had 5 or 6 times when she has pooed in her diaper itself or in her shorts or nappy, and that's it. The rest of the time, she sits on her pot, she does her job, we clean up, and everyone's happy. Once she was able to sit with support, that's when we started using the potty seat. And that's really important because you don't want to be holding them there on the potty seat all the time. You need to give them light support, but they need to be able to sit by themselves. Now, the same way that I had a humming associated with peeing, I came up with a song associated to pooing, and this is what it is. Mukkuda mukkuda, beg begu mukkuda, yella vashile varatu, uleveki vanda. Okay, now the reason I came up with a song for pooing was that she needs to be sitting on the potty for a little longer, and she loves music. So we said, okay, let's come up with a song that sort of talks about the whole pooing process. And those first few weeks, I would say she really wanted to get off the potty. She didn't want to sit on it, even though the urge to poo was there. So we'd give her a toy in her hand, or maybe, some part of our clothing to play with, or some part of her clothing to play with, and have her sit through the duration of the poo. And once she was done, she would then get up happily. Takes a little bit of patience in those initial weeks to get her to sit comfortably on the pot, but now she sits there as long as is needed, and as soon as she's done, she'll try and grab onto my hands and stand up and get up and say, okay, I'm done, let's wash up. So at this point, when she's 10 months old, we've reached monsoon season here in Bangalore. So it gets a little chilly sometimes. So there are times when she can pee an average of once in half an hour. And she's already set up a poo routine wherein she usually poos as soon as she gets up in the morning, and one more time sometime in the afternoon or evening. So it makes it really comfortable for us that she has this routine in place, and we know her signals and we just have to follow it. So it seems like a really natural process for us to do now, while it did take a little bit of work in those first few months. So some of the times that I make sure that we put her on the potty is as soon as she wakes up, just before she goes down for her nap or night sleep, about 10 minutes after she's eaten a meal, and just before or after an outing. Very important. If we keep track of all of this, it just makes the whole process easier. So since we're clot diapering her, these are some of the things that I use during the whole process. As soon as she wakes up in the morning, we put her into pants and shorts. Then when she is ready for her afternoon nap, we put her into these padded underwear. And again, once she's awake, back into pants or shorts. And for her night sleep, we put her into the reusable diaper covers with inserts. And that usually lasts her the night. In case it doesn't, I just change her out again in the middle of the night and just deal with the wetness around. So just change the bed sheet on her side of the bed and go back to sleep. So not very difficult at all. So these are my 5 easy steps to toilet training your baby. Step number 1, clot diaper your baby. Makes it so much simpler because they're able to signal their discomfort. Step number 2 is to just note down how often they pee or poo and see what sort of routine or schedule that sets up. Step number 3 is to have a song or a sound ready to help them associate, the activity of pooing or peeing with where you take them to do it. So as an addition to step number 3, try and choose a sound that you would only be associating with pooing or peeing. Now I chose not to say shh, because that's the sound that we associate with calming the baby down or putting her to bed. So try and choose a sound specific to that, otherwise you may have your baby pooing and pooing at all odd times. Step number 4 is, you either hold them in the position or you put them onto the potty or the potty seat whenever they need to go. And the last step is, once they are done, just wash them up and get ready to do the whole cycle soon. So these were the ways that I have been toilet training my baby, and I look forward to us moving to the next steps as she becomes more mobile, starts to walk, and I will keep you updated on that process. Until then, I hope these steps help you too.